Today is Monday, April 26th, and this is Tech Avail News. I am Jason Ellis, and of course, the Oscars happened last night, so let's just jump into it. Here are your top headlines from over the weekend to know going to your workday today. So, of course, we need to talk about the Oscars. They happened late yesterday. Let me just preface two big points that we should talk about before purely judging this telecast. Steven Soderbergh and the producers had a positive uphill battle to try to make this interesting, relevant, and different. So number one, COVID. They had to try and mix things up and not just do the Zoom version that the previous awards have been doing. Was it successful? Meh. Not really, but it's kind of tough to properly highlight 2020 and the success. So they did try. I do wish that they tried to do the in memoriam section not so fast. And on top of it, that the musical numbers were actually during the telecast and not just pre-recorded during the pre-show, because you need the music, you need the comedy to mix it up. Yes, it was nice having the hosts and presenters, not the hosts, the presenters do little anecdotal stories, but it's not the same. I definitely wish that they do bring back a host. I think they need to find someone like Billy Crystal, who worked so well because he was such a Hollywood insider that he knew how to, poke fun at the business and at actors and everyone in a very positive way. Gervais, who I do like, just kind of comes off like an asshole instead of a chummy figure. So they do need to try to find another host to keep things going. Soderbergh tried by doing, like an Ocean's 11 start, but that essentially disappeared after Regina did her walk. So not really a good solve. So we'll see what happens. And the other big issue is box office. Usually there is at least some recognition of what these features are. And because of the lack of theaters being open, I guarantee the majority of the audience didn't know probably 2/3 of these nominations without needing to look them up or without needing to try to figure out, or watching a trailer, try and figure out what they are. So that's going to definitely be an issue. And this has been an issue for the Oscars, I want to say, for the past 5 years, where they keep on nominating movies that no one outside of Hollywood and New York really knows or cares about. So that needs to change. And so that's a tough thing for the producers to really overcome. But let's just get into it. There were some really great winners that were predictable. Some had monumental achievements and a couple of just, pure upsets. Two wins that really didn't come as a surprise, in my opinion at least, was Nomadland for Best Picture. It kept on sweeping the awards previously, so you kind of knew this was going to happen. And for Chloe Zhao winning as Best Director. I will say, even though it was assumed that she would win, this is fantastic because Chloe is now the first woman of color, first woman of Asian descent to win this Oscar. And on top of it, only the second woman ever to win Best Director for an Oscar. Catherine Bigelow won for Hurt Locker, but to see Oscars, A, nominate more women, and B, have a woman win is wonderful progress. Actors and Best Supporting Role went to Young Jung Young for Minari, also semi-assumed, but once again, she's the first Korean actress to win, so that's a great monumental win. Daniel Kaluuya took home for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, also assumed, even though he had a funny, odd quip about his mom and dad, being happy that they had sex. So, kept the show a little lively, I guess. I'm very happy that Soul won for Best Animated Feature. I really, really liked Wolf Walkers, but I think Soul had a more round, more full project to it than Wolf Walkers did, but still really great projects, both of them. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom took home for Best Costume Design and Makeup and Hairstyling. Two really monumental wins for this. Anne Roth, who won for the Best Costume Designer, is the oldest woman to ever win an Oscar at the age of 89. So kudos to her. And then Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson are the first Black women to win makeup and hairstyling. So that's fantastic. Obviously, great show that women took this all home, but also a diverse women took home for the hairstyle and makeup. I think on the writer front, not too controversial. On the adapted screenplay, The Father won by Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller. If you haven't seen The Father, it's very good. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but this definitely does deserve Best Adapted, even though it was based on Florian Zeller's play. So a little bit easier when the writer director of the play is doing his own movie, but he actually did it very masterfully. That sometimes play to screen does not translate correctly. I mean, you look at God of Carnage, that was an amazing play, but the movie just really fell flat. In best screenplay overall, Emerald Fennell won for Promising Young Woman, which I think she deserves. I think Emerald's a really great writer and as she has been not recognized for a long time. So I do think she deserves this win. I'm happy that this didn't really get any more wins because I thought Promising Young Woman was good, not great. So the supposed controversial moment of the Oscars came from because of the producers. The producers decided to move Best Picture up and Best Actress and Best Actor to the end awards of the ceremony. So for Best Actress, Frances McDormand took the win for her role on Nomadland. 100% deserved. She's Frances McDormand. She really does no wrong. I think Nomadland would have been a movie if it wasn't for McDormand, so she definitely deserves this. But obviously the controversy / surprise, I would say more than anything, was the win by Sir Anthony Hopkins for Best Actor and not Chadwick Boseman. Obviously, people expected Boseman to win because he essentially won every previous award and because, unfortunately, he has passed away. I'm going to be a little controversial on this because if you are looking this as an analytical approach for best acting ability, if you have not seen The Father and you're having an issue with this win, you need to go see The Father. Because I remember seeing The Father in 2019 Sundance and being mesmerized and blown away by Anthony Hopkins' performance. It's literally probably the most nuanced performance I've seen, in the last couple of years. It's spectacularly done. He deserves this win. From an emotional standpoint, 100% it would have been wonderful for Chadwick Boseman to win. I knew Chadwick Boseman, and he was a great guy. It would have been lovely to have him win this Oscar as a posthumous nod to what a wonderful career he has. But also, the Oscar should and needs to go to the best performer. And it would have been great for Chadwick to do it. Ma Rainey's, he was very good in it. But you compare his Ma Rainey performance to Anthony Hopkins' performance, Anthony Hopkins deserves this win. It might be controversial to say that, but it is what it is. But Chadwick is a fantastic actor. And if for some reason you are thinking that he won't be remembered as much because he did not win the Oscars, that's a problem with you and not with the show itself. So, I'm just putting that out there. Hopkins deserves a win. Would have been nice if he was in attendance. The producers fucked that up, but it is what it is. So the show itself was fine. The winners, pretty predictable. Wonderful monuments. Oh, and I did forget to say that Anthony Hopkins actually set a new record by being the oldest man to win a Oscar at the age of, Best Actor at the age of 83. So kudos for Anthony Hopkins for that moment. But on a business perspective, the Oscars usually are a pretty big box office bump for the winners and theaters. But because of 2020, it's a weird year. So the question really is on the business aspect is, will this help generate more money for these features and these streaming services? So Netflix did win 7 awards last night, and Hulu has Nomadland on their streaming platform. So my question is, will these wins or nominations even add more subscribers to these streaming platforms? My gut reaction is no way. I don't see it going to change anything besides maybe a few percent points at that for people to go, okay, well, let me go see The Father. Okay, let me go watch Nomadland now. But because these were essentially very unrecognizable, projects, I don't see Middle America International rushing to go, oh my God, I must now subscribe to the streaming services. So this is once again a detriment because of COVID of the business in large, because usually people would get box office bonuses and a value added for winning the Oscar. I just don't see that happening this year, unfortunately. Okay, so that was the Oscars. It is what it is. It happened. I'm actually very curious on how many viewers watch, because Golden Globes and the past award shows have all essentially been 60% drop off. So I'm curious to see what happens with the ratings. But let's get into some other news. Let's start it off with Saw and American Psycho. Not too many details have been released, but there was an interview done with Lionsgate Television chairman Kevin Beggs that he did allude to the TV adaptations of Saw and American Psycho being made into series. Not surprising on the Saw front, because they are just trying to milk the shit out of that franchise. So why not? People have been really trying to figure out how to make horror movies into horror series, because obviously the biggest issue is you can't keep on killing your series regular. So how do you make an ongoing story? And I think the version for Saw, if I'm going to predict, it's going to be a crime procedural. So obviously we'll have our lead detective, lead whoever, while they try to find Jigsaw and try to find the victims. So more serial killer versus cop chase, if they're going to do this correctly, in my opinion. For American Psycho, I don't know how you're going to adapt this, because American Psycho is a awesome fucking movie and a very specific tone and a specific message to the business community. So you can't really make this into a broadcast friendly procedural. And I really hope they go more for the FX, HBO, more, probably for Lionsgate, the Stars version, making it cable, making it elevated. Don't dumb this one down. American Psycho is a classic, so I'm curious on how the approach is going to be for that. I'm going to keep this one pretty spoiler free, but Captain America 4 is in development now at Disney/Marvel with Malcolm Spellman and Dalen Moosin, who actually wrote on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Obviously, this is because I'm just not going to spoil anything, but there's a hint at the end of the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier of the need for a Captain America 4. So fine to keep it going. I still think that Captain America franchise has always been fine / fillers for the Avengers showcase. So we'll see how this goes, especially because Avengers is done. So what is Captain America 4 going to bring to the table? That, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think is a good show. It's not WandaVision, so I'm curious what this will do for just audiences in general. I mean, you always hear about regime changes, changing, canceling, and all this fun stuff happening, but it's definitely interesting when a pretty hot package is not moving forward. They just announced that Alec Baldwin and Kelsey Grammer's multicam sitcom is not going to go forward at ABC and will be shopped elsewhere. This had back in November a straight to series order for ABC, but because of all the regime change happening, with Hulu, ABC Signature, ABC, the network, all this stuff, they have decided to not move forward. And because essentially every straight to series order has a kill option by the network to not move forward on it, they definitely exercise that. Of course, this is going to be coming with significant kill fees for the creators and for the two stars. So I'm curious how much this is actually going to cost ABC. But they also need to think bigger picture now that they have Disney Plus and Hulu's changing and all that stuff. So just interesting to see when this happens / where it's going to end up. My guess, Peacock. That's my guess. All right, let's jump into some attachment news. Usually because of the Oscars, people don't want to do a lot of announcements, so we do just have one, and is on the director front. HBO has tapped Jasmila Zabanik and Ali Abbasi to come on to the roster of directors for the Last of Us series. This is, of course, based on the hit video game on PlayStation, and this comes after the announcement of Kantemir Balagov coming on to direct the pilot episode. Obviously, Jamila, what project was just nominated for an Oscar with Quo Vadis Ada, and I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but Ali Abbasi did the movie Border, which I'm pretty sure is probably still on Hulu. Watch it. It's freaking bonkers and weird. And then Kanamir is known for the indie drama Beanpole. So obviously HBO is hitting into these art house directors to try to give a different style to The Last of Us, which I very much agree with, because The Last of Us, if you've played it or seen clips of it, is a beautifully created game with a wonderful story. Yes, it has zombies in it, but it's really a father-daughter story and it's very well toned. So having these intimate directors who know how to bring more story than explosions to it may do justice to this project. So very curious how it comes out. Of course, this comes from the Chernobyl creators, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. So this is, becoming a very cool project very slowly in a very great way. All right, so those are the top headlines from the weekend to know going to your workday today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Jason Ellis. This is Techville News. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful day.